How did you be an IPCC scholar and which do you do? You be one while you are designated by yours own by the government. So in my instance I was designated by the Netherlands by the government and the Europe Committee. Down there is a choice trial in the IPCC since they wish a specific mix of nationalities and scientific backgrounds, and they wish various disciplines provided. He's mainly added liability to yours regular job of training or making study or job in an NGO or in a business. You recite all of the research publication. You talk in yours some authors how you love to present the publication in a head and you compose the head. The chapters are shipped out to some expert for comments, and you include to reply all such. In the recent circle we had 4,400 comments on the head how I'm in, and we include to answer to each person. How's a lot of job? And you do all the and you don't get pay for it? For largest of us, our institutions believe he's essential how's why we do the job, so my college in the Netherlands helping in receive some human beings to do portion of my training for copy. But yes he's a bit of problem. Why does it get so length? We've in fact put the paper along at recording rate. The paper took a year and a part among while the authors at first met to the meet in Korea. Which you will be making in Korea and why is it essential? We include manufactured a brief common executive summary of our paper named the Executive Summary for Policymakers. The 20 web page paper is a distilling of 6,000 study papers. By the government representatives who we will encounter in Korea, will wish to changing several things and our part is to do certainly how the changes they are manufacturing are consecutive in the main paper and how they do represent vary which the scientific is proverb on behavioral changing or innovate or all associated to so are the governments the lug while it comes to yours paper. Yes and no. The governments endorse and contour, and we include to pursue such shot points. We, as authors yet define which we compose in the paper and they overview it and we get their comments really severely as they enhance the quality assurance of the definitive food. In Korea, we will go via the brief executive summary for policymakers, link by link. The executive summary is agreed by the governments, we compose a project but they in fact define the definitive result of how, except it is not consecutive in the main paper, later we as authors should say up. Lot human beings believe how maybe we can gear environment changing in technique. Do you believe how's thing how will be necessary in the next? If we go on the way we are residing at the time in our top energy use, top intake lifestyles, it is difficult to remain consecutive in the heat scenarios, how's really precise. So we will requirement all various of changes, and technology changes are portion of how. One item how is in the news story is adverse emissions technique. At several spot we should not just hinder the emissions of hothouse gases to the ambience, we may include to shoot these gases of the ambience. How's quite new technique, so we are not down there still. Can we hold temperature downward if everyone goes vegetarian? Can we do it in way of life changes? It won't be quite by himself. Farming is an enormous portion of world emissions, not just via the farts and burps of bovine but as well via the earth use changing to increase meal for such bovine. Lot of the soy manufactured in countries in top deforestation rates is for feed animals for flesh and milk. If you go fully vegetarian you would yet include a lot of emissions of power use and transportation and power manufacture. We don't include how mind experimental in the paper but my hump would be how it would yet be quite to go history, but departure vegetarian would assist a many. Several human beings might claim how compliance temperature under is all downward to governments and has anything to do in me? Down there's ever and cooperation among which individuals do and which governments do and individual companies do. Governments can do policies how impact individuals. You can see how really obviously if you comparison emissions per man in the joint state in Europe, countries in such levels of revenue and growth but really various lifestyles in regulation of car property and though dietary way of life matters. How will the paper affect the lives of junior human beings? Which do you believe would be the capacity effect on youthful human beings? A paper of year does not changing the planet, but if, as a impact of the government's coordinated to range the world heat growth to how would indicate a fully various way of conveying ourselves in wealthy and impoverished countries. It would indicate a fully various way of with power in households, of generative power, how we do our means, how lot plasticity would be utilized, and how we nourish ourselves. The decisions we do now on if we let 1.5 or 2 degrees or more than occur will changing the planet tremendously. But our lives while compliance it under in designed people growth and economical increase will as well see otherwise. The lives of human beings will never be the identical once again each path, but we can impact that next we end up in. Are down there reasons to be upbeat? Individually I am encouraging. We're vision several countries manufacturing severe plans to be consecutive in, we are vision expenses of revolving energies fall. Lot human beings are receiving cheap emission lifestyles, and for copy dong t fly over. Though the expenses of several adverse radiation technologies are falling down so we are vision several encouraging signs. The IPCC as well tries to be more than decision-oriented quite rather than just weakening and analysis problems. Down there's very nice reasons to very begin work currently. I'm not certainly on hopefulness, but I believe how loser expect is never a nice concept.